Jeopardy! Host Ken Jennings isn't losing sleep over Wheel of Fortune beating his show in the ratings, and was cracking jokes off camera with the live audience of a recent taping. The U.S. Sun previously revealed that Wheel of Fortune surged past Jeopardy! By over 1 million viewers after Ryan Seacrest took over from Pat Sajak. Ryan, 49, made his debut in September and saw the ratings rise for the ABC show, while Ken is said to be struggling to keep up after taking over as the sole host of Jeopardy! Around 8,310,000 viewers watched Wheel of Fortune for the premiere week, according to official figures. As for Jeopardy!, the trivia game show pulled in 7,113,000 viewers during the same period. Ken, who took over from iconic longtime host Alex Trebek, made light of the situation between games at Sony Picture Studios this past week. An insider told the U.S. Sun, after a recent taping, Ken asked the live audience if they enjoyed their time at the show, before asking if any of them wished they'd gone to see Wheel of Fortune instead. The crowd erupted in laughter and seemed to appreciate him making fun of the rivalry and not taking it so seriously. Ken is very humble, really kind to everyone on set, and eager to answer questions from guests. It seems the role hasn't gone to his head. There's no ego about him at all. Fight for the top spot. The source also said Ken seems to be settling in well on the renamed Alex Trebek stage and is even using the former host's hairdresser, Renee Ferruggia. Audience members have also asked him which is harder, being a contestant or hosting, and he admitted taking part was much more nerve-wracking than reading out the questions. But he may still be getting heat from bosses after WF took the top spot last month, as Ryan's team is said to be popping champagne over the success. Jeopardy! Brought in more viewers overall last season before Ryan came on board. Ken and The Big Bang Theory's Mayim Bialik shared hosting duties until she was let go from the show in 2023 because producers allegedly wanted more consistency. He's now solo and will have to work hard to beat WF as Ryan has more star power and experience in television, while this is Ken's first role after being a long-running champion on Jeopardy! Ken had a 74-game streak as a contestant and told fans at a taping this week that he pulled in more than $2.5 million. According to reports, he has made a total of $4.3 million from the game show with tournaments. A TV source previously told the U.S. Sun, Ryan is bringing a sense of youth and urgency to the job that is a lot harder to pull off than it looks. My advice to Ken is that just because Mayim is out of the picture doesn't mean he shouldn't watch his back. In most media markets these shows run back-to-back and Ken needs to make sure he doesn't suffer from the contrast with Ryan. It's a tricky situation because their personalities are so radically different from one another. Although Ken, 50, has no long-time contract to host the show, he's allegedly made it clear he wants to prove people wrong. Jeopardy! Is Ken's religion. He lives it, and he breathes it, and despite all the outside pressures, he's not going to mess this up, the insider claimed. He's proud to have worked his way into this position and believes he has what it takes to make it last for decades to come. The source continued, what he really wants more than anything is to stick around and make this position work for the long run. And if that means making less money to ensure his longevity, you can bet your life he'd be game. Ken's competition. Meanwhile, Ken also has competition from SNL star and comedian Colin Jost. Colin has more experience with live TV than almost anybody involved with Jeopardy! They added. He can make things work in the moment that Ken can't, and nobody is in denial about that. Meanwhile, Celebrity Jeopardy! Was filmed recently and it has not yet been revealed who will host after Ken took on the role previously. In the bustling studio of Jeopardy!, the atmosphere was electric. The set, adorned with its iconic blue and gold hues, shimmered under the bright studio lights. As the cameras prepared to roll, the crew moved about with practiced efficiency, setting up for another thrilling episode. Among the crew was Ken Jennings, the new face of Jeopardy! And a legend in his own right. With a reputation for not just intellect but also his sharp sense of humor, he had become a beloved host in the wake of Alex Trebek's passing. But it wasn't just the trivia questions and the contestants that had the studio buzzing. Just off stage, Ken had been indulging in some friendly ribbing about his fellow host and rival, Ryan Seacrest, who helmed the equally popular Wheel of Fortune. Their rivalry, though playful, was steeped in the competitive spirit of daytime television, and the two had developed a rapport that oscillated between camaraderie and light-hearted jabs. As Ken stepped into the spotlight for the opening remarks of the taping, he glanced at the camera, a playful grin spreading across his face. The audience, eager and enthusiastic, quieted down in anticipation of his trademark opening line. Little did they know, he had something special lined up for them today. "Welcome back to Jeopardy!" Ken began, his voice warm and engaging. "You know, I was just backstage thinking about our friends over at Wheel of Fortune. Ryan Seacrest was asking for some tips on how to make his show more challenging. I told him, just try asking contestants about something other than spinning a wheel." The audience erupted in laughter, clearly enjoying the playful jab at the simplicity of Wheel of Fortune's iconic game mechanic. Ken continued, "But seriously, Ryan is doing a great job. He's keeping Pat Sajik's chair warm. That must be a huge chair, by the way. I hear it's built for two." Ken paused, allowing the laughter to die down before continuing. "I mean, you'd think with all that time Pat's spent in it, it could double as a throne for a king. But let's be honest, it's really just there to support Ryan's sparkling personality." The audience roared again, appreciating the clever quip that highlighted Ken's quick wit. He had a unique ability to blend humor with a touch of nostalgia, effortlessly connecting with the longtime fans of both shows. As the first round began, Ken shifted into his role as host, effortlessly guiding the contestants through the categories and encouraging their spirited competition. The atmosphere was lively, punctuated by Ken's infectious enthusiasm. But in the back of his mind, he was already plotting his next joke. During a brief intermission, the stage manager approached Ken with a grin, reminding him of the upcoming guest appearance by a celebrity contestant known for their connections to Wheel of Fortune. "Hey, Ken, remember to keep it friendly out there," the stage manager chuckled. Ken nodded, his mind racing with comedic possibilities. As the cameras rolled again, he couldn't help but slip in another jab. "And we're back. Today we have a special guest contestant who claims they've been on Wheel of Fortune more times than I've hosted Jeopardy. I think they might actually hold the record for spinning the most letters without solving a puzzle." The audience burst into laughter once more, appreciating the camaraderie between the two shows.